I saw him laughing on Twitter, and sadly I've seen Nota, Nhlamulo Baloyi, go and attack me as well with Bianca, falsely accusing me of sleeping with her and calling Bianca derogatory names on Twitter. It's quite sad, and it's just sadly, I didn't even want to address this, but it means I now have no choice but to distance myself away from Nota. Because that's not the type of person I am. It's not the type of person I want to be. It's not the type of person I want to be associated with.
I will not be distancing myself from anyone. From you, from Nota, from Penuel, from anyone. I will not be distancing myself from any of you guys. I love you guys all. Having recorded an episode with Penuel about, I think it was 2 weeks ago, where we spoke about fatherhood. And it was an emotional episode about how Penuel opened up about fatherhood and just what he's been experiencing as a father, not being, afforded an opportunity to see his child. When Nota makes a remark about Penuel's fatherhood, Chris Axel, Bianca Costa, all of those things, it's none of my business. I love both Nota and Penuel, and I'm not going to be commenting on everything that trends. And just because it's got Nota and Penuel now, I must comment, just like you guys have been asking me. I mean, I don't know how many messages I've been receiving all day today. I'm not going to comment because it's none of my business.
So what makes this whole situation very tricky for Spoo?
Yeah.
Is that Spoo works with both of them.
Yeah.
They both work under this Hustlers Corners podcast. They've both been in the podcast together.
Yeah.
And they've both interviewed each other and all that kind of stuff.
So now
Spoo as the boss, right? And then Nota and Penuel as like the co-hosts and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Are beefing.
Mm-hmm.
His stance is, it's none of his business.
Well, obviously that's Spoo the businessman. Like Spoo is a hardcore businessman. I think we can see that. Like namanje uyenza i-video advertising mofaya yakhe. Like he's all about business, and I get that. Like from a business perspective, it's best to not get involved because he doesn't want to have to get to the point where he has to choose a side and then he has to let go of one, because both of them are bringing in ratings and are bringing in views for him, and that's what he wants. So I get where he's coming from and I get his stance. Like, even though I wouldn't say it's good, I wouldn't say it's bad, it's just like, it is what it is. It's business. It is what it is. So, and also again, also from a moral perspective and also from a normal human perspective, Nota was obviously wrong for attacking someone like that, like personally, like, and even below the belt, like he just went all areas trying to attack him, and that's wrong. I think everybody knows that that's wrong. Mm-hmm. Like there's no question about that. Then again, I feel like Penuel was not too offended. If I don't know if I'm reading the situation wrong, but this is what I got. I don't think he was too offended because he knows like Nota tends to be a bit of a cloud chaser, and that was obviously one of those episodes, and he was more offended for Bianca and the insults that he threw at Bianca rather than the insults he threw at him. And also, like, that is so unprofessional. But then again, I'm guessing in these entertainment spaces, like professionalism isn't a thing.
Doesn't mean anything.
It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Because we can't be working for the same organization and we are publicly like catfighting. Like, that does not make sense. That is a bad image for the business. But I guess he wouldn't care because it's not his business.
So, okay, my thing is this, right? You say Spoo the businessman spoke.
Yeah.
And for the sake of his business, again, he doesn't want to mess up the dynamics of his business and whatnot, which makes sense. Yeah. And obviously, something like this, any controversy will bring in views. Yeah. So any type of controversy like this will bring in views. So I'm sure on his part, he's probably not so. He's not feeling too bad.
Yeah, because I think he's gonna milk this as well for some weeks.
He'll probably milk it.
He'll talk to each one
and try to get a story.
Yes, everybody wants to hear each one's side of the story, how they feel about it. Like, yeah.
So my question is this, right? Penuel has already stated that he's just distancing himself from Nota. Probably doesn't want to work with him and all that stuff like that. What happens if he has to pick a side? And what if
it gets out of hand?
No, what happens if Smoo has to pick a side?
Well, like, he's gonna have to.
Like, for example, Penuel says, I will not work here anymore if Nota is still working.
Well, then, in situations like that, he's gonna have to say goodbye to Penuel. It's like, well, you made life easier for me then. Do you get what I mean?
So you have to get rid of Penuel.
No, it's not about getting rid of Penuel. Like, if Nota says, fuck this shit, I'm done, then it might be like, okay, I'm sorry. You know what I mean? There's nothing I can do. Like, especially if it gets very toxic. Like, let's say the work environment gets toxic to the point where they absolutely can't work together. The first one to say, fuck this shit, then it's, that's going to be
But he's not saying fuck this shit. He's saying, I will leave if this guy is still here. What do you do then as a Smoo? He hasn't said I'm leaving. He said I will.
But then if he sticks to his stance and say, well, I'm not firing anyone. So
then
if the one who wants to leave will leave.
Okay.
And of which that's a very cowardice way to handle the situation.
Because you're not picking sides.
You're not picking a side. But then again, that is morally, now it taps into the moral aspect of things and like your morals as a person. Like, are you, like, in a situation like that, you know who to deal with. Like in normal organizations, a person like Nota will go through disciplinary hearings, or like disciplinary measures and actions will be taken. So it's like, well, if the work environment does becomes non-conducive, then obviously that person has to be let go because you are the problem. But then his stance is like, well, I'm not getting involved. Look, that's only going to work temporarily, but he knows Nota does not stop. Like, once Nota starts, he won't stop. So, like, maybe he'll come back and be like, oh, Penuel's my bit. If he doesn't get, or he gets what he's hoping for.
He's already done something like that. So,
like he does. I have no beef with Penuel. I was just defending Chris Excel, and it's just business, nothing personal. You see, now it's gonna be like, oh, we must just forget. That's Nota. And I feel like Penuel also knows that. That's why he was like more offended for Bianca than anything else. But like, it does get to the point where you disrespect someone, and someone is like, hey, now you overstepped, or you.
Because this nigga, like, he went for his fatherhood. Like, he literally was like, no, you're a bad father. You cannot tell us. You cannot preach to us because your life is in shambles and all that stuff like that.
But like, where does my fatherhood have to do with anything with me helping someone?
That's the thing with Nota.
I can never help someone because
So that's the thing. Nota usually hits where it hurts. He doesn't like to.
It's malicious.
Sugarcoat things. He likes to hit people where it hurts. Right. To get a reaction out of people and all that stuff, to plan and everything like that.
Yeah.
So he's been doing this for like 2-3 days straight ever since that interview came out. And me personally, if somebody came at me like that, especially publicly, and tried to humiliate me and personally shame me and attack my character and all that stuff like that, and then you just say it's not personal, it's just business.
No way.
That does not make sense.
No, it does not make sense. It was very, very personal.
You made it personal.
And people like to do that. There's people who genuinely like to do that, like a lot. Nota wants people to get used to him throwing around toxic words and horrible words. And
So another thing I got out of that tweet is that, like he just said, it's not personal, it's business.
Yeah.
He protected Chris Excel over Penuel. So his business interests lie
with Chris Excel. Because Chris has a large following.
Yes.
And Penuel is at his level. Let me say at his level because they're working together, the vibes.
Nota wouldn't say that, but
he wouldn't say that, but like, he's like, well, I have no interest in you because you won't do anything for me. That's the business minded side as well.
Yeah. So as this move, you should take note of that. Because he put your own worker he threw your own worker under the bus for another business interest.
Yes.
So he could potentially do the same to you.
I don't think that's that's something you need to wreck your brain about. That's a given.
But Smooth might not see it like that.
Yeah, Smooth has moments.
Especially when you're saying,
being naive sometimes.
Especially when you're saying, if Penuel was to say that, I'm leaving if this guy still works here, and he lets Penuel go and keeps Nota.
That might be the worst business decision.
That might be a bad business decision, but Nota has showed that his business interests lie elsewhere.
His loyalty can waver.
Yes.
They waver to where the bag is, basically.
So, yeah, that was just a little interesting story that came out this week.
Yeah.
Nota literally bullying or clowning on Penuel, the protector Chris. I don't know what the relationship is there.
Come on, there's no relationship. It probably will sprout. That's what he does. Like, he'll just come out. Like, if he feels like there's a potential to benefit from him, he's gonna be your best friend. Like, he'll be your best friend. But not because he really gives a damn. Like, let's be honest. But he chooses, he's wise about who he wants to bring close for obvious reasons. I ain't mad at him. Like, that's Nota. Like, come on.
Actually, at the end of the day, when you're dealing with Nota, you should know that these things come with him.
Yeah.
He can
you guys can be cool today, and then tomorrow
he'll just come for you.
Yeah.
If you go against him in any way, he'll come for you and he'll make sure.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things. When you're dealing with Nota, this is probably one of the things you should keep in mind that you might have to deal with. So maybe Penuel knows that. That's why, like you said, he wasn't.
I don't think he's too offended. Like, yes, it hurts. Like, obviously, if you're gonna be talking, but then he knows himself, so he knows his truth. Like, he knows what he's saying is not necessarily true. You know what I'm saying? Then it's like, I think he's mature enough to not get too offended, only because of that reason. And you can see he's got, good head between his shoulders, like he's got sense. You can see. Do you think
Nota and Penuel will chop it up and then they'll be cool again?
Yeah, I do think so. Penuel is the type to like forgive and forget. He does seem like that type. Nota is the type to come around and say I'm sorry, but not necessarily say I'm sorry. Just find a way to be like I am sorry, but.
So you think they'll chop it up, everything will be good?
I do think so after some time, but then it won't be the last time it happens. Especially if they do chop it up and become fine again. It will give him more leeway to do it again. Because he's like, you're an idiot. I'm going to say I'm sorry again when I'm done.
Well, you guys just let us know what you think about all this.
Yeah, and what do you think of Smooth's stance? Do you think he was right in just trying to remain neutral in the situation? Do you think it's possible for him to maintain that neutralness in the situation, or he's just really lying to himself and at some point he's going to need to pick a side? And if he should pick a side, whose side should he pick?
Don't forget to like, subscribe,
and keep watching. Bye.
I'll check you guys in the next one.